My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Samas, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Hello, welcome guys. We're obviously going to do Aryna Sabalenka against Elena Rybakina, the quarterfinals in Cincinnati today. Sorry, this is like one of the hottest days of the year in Poland, and I chose the wrong time for being hungover. But hopefully, my brain will actually start working properly while this match begins, and we'll get some actual tennis content analysis, or however you want to call it, because presently I am still a little lost. Anyway, in terms of other interesting stuff from Cincinnati, right now, Kash and Glasspool are trying to maintain their 21 match winning streak, turn it into a 22 match winning streak. So I'm also following that tiebreak between them and Bolelli Vavasori, which if Bolelli Vavasori win, it might be followed by another tiebreak. But of course, here the focus will be almost entirely on Sabalenka Rybakina. This is the second quarterfinal. All four quarterfinals on the women's side are played today. And the first one that's already done, it was obviously Iga Świątek defeating Anna Kalinskaya. And it's Iga Świątek who will be the rival of either Sabalenka or Rybakina here. Soon enough, Sabalenka and Świątek will probably be the number 1 and 2 in the world. But for now, they aren't, and they were in the same half. Last year, they actually also met in the semifinals in Cincinnati, so we might be in for a rematch, unless Rybakina will have something to say about that. Much has been, of course, said so far about Rybakina this year and how she's kind of, well, she struggled with pressure. She struggled to produce her best stuff consistently. Maybe it's related to the on-court or rather off-court mess that is with her and the coach Stefano Vukov, who was banned by the WTA but apparently will not be anymore. It's there's a lot happening there, and we aren't really sure if she's handling it right. I mean, it's a tough situation, definitely from her perspective, regardless of what your opinion is on what is actually happening and whether he should be banned. But either way, Rybakina has not been at her best. But there is some potential for her to get some of the ranking back during this time of the year, because last year after Wimbledon, I think she only played the US Open and the WTA finals. I might be wrong, but I think that's pretty much it. And she also withdrew early out of the US Open. WTA finals, I guess, went decently. She got one win, maybe, if I remember correctly. So there's potential to gain some ranking back. There's definitely potential to get back into, top 8 and potentially make the WTA finals, especially as she has started this North American part of the season very well. Semifinals in Washington, semifinals in Toronto. You might say that, in some of these matches, especially against Mboko, in not Toronto, but Montreal, that in some of these matches, again, these issues that she's been struggling with this year, they kind of came back. But nonetheless, I mean, the level has been good, and she is kind of due a big win, a big result, I think. We'll see if it happens today. Of course, Rybakina and Sabalenka have played each other a billion times by now. I actually have to even count it. I don't know. I mean, definitely Sabalenka leads pretty heavily. But how heavily? 5-2, 5-3, 6-3, 6-4, 7-4, I think it is right now for Aryna. Recently, they played on grass in Berlin in a quarterfinal. It was very close. Sabalenka won. But last year, the WTA finals, Rybakina won, so it's not like it's a streak. There was also that Brisbane famous clash, I guess infamous from Aryna's perspective, where She just got like destroyed by Rybakina, 6-love, 6 games to 3. And by the way, in case you were interested in that, Cash and Glasspool have just finished the match, so their winning streak is indeed at 22 right now. Just to kind of give you like a point of comparison, the longest win streak by the Bryan brothers was 25, and I think especially in doubles, it is very difficult to maintain a winning streak because it's kind of designed to be tight, right? There's no odds, there's very high serve impact, the match tie breaks as well, so it's really not an easy task. And well, so far they're doing it. They're 3 wins away from the record of the Bryans. Of course, that's not the longest win streak in doubles history. I mean, we'd have to kind of like go back through maybe the Fleming McEnroe records, or I don't know, maybe the Woodies. But I only checked the Bryans so far. I was not. I didn't give it that much time yet. I was basically doing that just a second ago. Anyway, first game of the match, and Rybakina was already low 30. Then she actually got to game point, and now there's going to be break point. I mean, it's obviously going to be like a huge hard-hitting contest. They have pretty similar games, I suppose, and whoever executes on the day is usually, whoever executes better on the day is just usually the winner. I don't think it's a particularly complicated matchup in terms of tactics, strategies, and everything. Both really want to be in charge. Maybe especially important for Rybakina, who is not as agile, not as fast as Sabalenka is. But, I mean, great serves as well. So, especially on these courts, should be a pretty fast-paced match. And, well, 2 points in a row now. Rybakina wins with her serve alone, including this ace out wide. Of course, a lot has been said as well about the Cincinnati conditions this week. Very brutal. The last 2 matches that I covered on the channel, they were basically ruined by the conditions. Like, at some point you just absolutely knew that the guy is winning because the other one just has 0 steam left. Medjedovic was struggling after like 3 games against Alcaraz. Mikkelsen Rune had one nice set, but after that, it was just all Holger. So, hopefully this one is at least a bit better in this respect. Rybakina takes the first game eventually. There's some comments coming in, I see. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Jake. Jake just woke up and the stream appears, indeed. I talked to a Talking Tennis subscriber recently who said that unfortunately he does not know when streams are happening now because he used to get that info from Twitter. So that's, we were talking about this recently, that the Twitter ban or suspension, or however you want to call it, is definitely hurting our reach, at least in that respect. Of course, subs, YouTube, and everything. But yeah, I can imagine that. I think even myself, I obviously have a sub on the Talking Tennis channel, but I think even myself, I kind of knew more when other streams were happening from Twitter rather than from YouTube. Even though I use YouTube a lot, just not for live streams. It's not really like an amazing live streaming platform. Of course, different in terms of sports watch-alongs. I mean, you kind of have to do it on YouTube, but I just mean, like games or variety that people definitely stream on other platforms more. Anyway, hopefully this will get sorted out, or if not, we're still doing fine. 19K subscribers recently got to that milestone. We're hoping to hit 20, well, definitely this year. If John was here, he'd tell you we're hoping to hit it like next week or something like that. John always sets these goalposts very, very aggressively, and kind of like really believes in the subscriber growth. We'll see how Alex Ayala does at the US Open. This could be the determining factor. Alex Ayala, the sub accelerator. Anyway, Aryna Sabalenka's second game. Of course, Aryna last year, she was a beast in Cincinnati. That semifinal that I mentioned with Świątek that we might get a rematch of, that was just, not close at all. I think at that point of the season, we kind of knew that Aryna is playing better, that she likes the conditions more, and we went into that one with very little doubt. And she did not instill it in us. Like she just literally dominated Świątek from start to finish, which it's tough to do, because even if the logic kind of supports you in a matchup like this is still massive, right? This is still you are facing one of your biggest rivals, somebody you know so well, somebody you respect so much, and it's just often not that simple, actually. So yeah, that was an impressive display for sure. Of course, later led her to the US Open title, where she defeated Pegula in the final again. It's an interesting thought, because they just showed up somebody in the Sabalenka box, and I'm like, wait, let me check something. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, yeah. I was thinking it's Max Mirny, right? And it is, yeah. Okay. I mean, if you add Max Mirny into your box, which I didn't know about. Apparently, I've been living under a rock. But if you add Max Mirny in your team, I mean, it's pretty clear what you want, right? You want to be stronger in the forecourt. You want to be stronger at the net. Obviously, Max Mirny, a very solid singles player as well, number 18, but absolute legend in the doubles. Definitely one of my favorite doubles specialists when I was first watching tennis. Had that Azarenka London Olympics run as well in the mixed. Played with all the top guys at the time, of course. With Nestor, for example, definitely one of his biggest partnerships. But he was not like a variety doubles guy, right? In terms of the, in terms of how many partners he had over the years. Anyway, Sabalenka is kind of exposing what I was talking about earlier. Like it's even more important for Elena to be in charge. That's some really nice topspin on the forehand there. Gets to the net, puts away the drive volley. Drive volley is definitely not something that I think Max Mirny will be teaching her, right? I mean, that's kind of common on the WTA tour for everything to be played with the drive, and I think she's probably good at that. Maybe it's just some more like instincts but yeah, interesting addition for sure. I mean, somebody who knows the trade. That's kind of obvious. Love 30 here on the Rybakina serve. That's for the second straight game in terms of the ones that she is serving in, obviously. No return, though, on the next shot. Staff member in work that has been dealing drugs with our residents. Oh, wow. So kind of like somebody in your position dealing drugs. That's an interesting idea, to be honest, because he lost used his job to get a better, I guess, reach and basically the connections. I mean, interesting idea, but yeah, obviously, I'm not surprised he lost the job. Well, second time as well, Rybakina is low 30 and is kind of serve botting to get out of it. There's some support for her in the chat from Ashley, and I think earlier from I thought it was Jake earlier, but it was actually Ashley both times with the Ryba support. I think she kind of needs it more, right? Myself, I also would like to see Rybakina win because I'd just like to see her come back to her best. I think the tour is better when both Aryna Sabalenka and Elena Rybakina are at their best. What I'm seeing so far, I mean, she's definitely had to rely on strong serving to get through. That's for sure. On the travel bag, Rybakina, travel bag. Why am I talking about travel bag? No, I mean the tennis bag. Rybakina has some mascot. I think these might be like the new super popular ugly mascots on the internet, which is a weird trend if you ask me, but you do you. That's really all I can say about that. 8 security guards. Okay. And he just pretending to be a guard, but dealing all sorts of... Wow. Yeah, I mean, if what you're describing, like, it would be pretty impossible for him to do it for a long time. I think just so easy to get caught. Yeah, I love that. All I do is watch tennis and drink beer in my flat. Yeah. From as from what I know about you, Jake, that seems like a very accurate description of what you do. And I mean it in the best of ways. Yeah, I had a bit of a crazy day yesterday. But basically it's probably like my last party-ish thing for a month. I started in my city and then I ended up going to Warsaw by accident, like not getting on the right train, realizing a little late, and then deciding, okay, I'll go to Warsaw. I'll call a friend and see if he can meet up. He could. So I just went to him and we drank some more. And then I had to come back from Warsaw today, which was actually a horrible idea because, as I said, it's one of the hottest days in Poland this year. And I mean, on the train, especially in my state, oh my God. But somehow I made it. So a lot of action today in tennis in the evening as well. So I'm hopefully going to stay up for a while and watch some tennis. Although from Cincinnati, this will probably be my last match today. I mean, Shelton Zverev looks pretty tasty, not gonna lie, but that's way too late for me. I am not too excited about the next women's quarterfinals. Rublev Alcaraz, not really either, so probably not that. But Sumter has some great quarterfinals today. I already watched Berucci Klein, now Layal and Faria. The first Toddy semi, which actually is going great on right now, Skatov Vashro, I think is very good too. Cancun and Barranquilla might be a little too late for me. We'll see. I'll have to stay up for them tomorrow when they have actually tomorrow and the day after, because the finals are going to be, I suppose, on different days. Anyway, Sabalenka serving at 1-2 has been the better player of the ground, but has not managed to make it show on the scoreboard yet. If Rybakina progresses to the semis, she'd be playing Świątek, and she's 0-3 against Iga this year, which kind of feels like, too much, considering especially the Roland Garros forefront. I mean, easily could have gone to her, but it is what it is. Okay, net court on the return from Rybakina, and Sabalenka doesn't adjust in time. Quite frustrated about that, but what can you do? Obviously not Rybakina's intention to play like that. So yeah, this will be the one semi-final. Świątek against Sabalenka or Rybakina, and of course the other will be the winners of Gauff Paolini and Gracheva Kudermetova. So definitely the top half is looking like the more stacked right now. I mean, Paolini, Gauff as well. But yeah, and we will actually have 2 breakpoints. It's a deep return from Rybakina, and Sabalenka cannot respond. In fact, she shanks her forehand, goes big on the serve for an ace. Maybe that's also something that Mirne will be working on. I don't know. He did have a pretty nasty serve. I mean, he was just really tall. He is really tall, in fact. We sometimes say was about players when they retire, right? Because like we describe them as players, I suppose. But he's still alive, obviously. He's in front of my eyes from time to time here. Breakpoint number 2. This time no help from the first serve. So this is the chance for Rybakina to get a bit of a lead here. And she wanted to take it. She approached the serve, went further inside the court, just couldn't connect. So 2 breakpoints come and gone, and both of them without having to do anything, really. for Sabalenka. I mean, this is harsh. Of course, she had that ace. I think Sabalenka also had a breakpoint in the first game, right? And that was also an unreturned serve. So yeah, we haven't had any rallies on breakpoints yet. Aryna thought she might have landed that another T serve on the deuce set, but she didn't. So serving second at deuce. This time it's a better return from Rybakina. Forehand slice, squash shot from Sabalenka. Rybakina goes to the net. Will not have to play the volley, which I think she will feel pretty fortunate about. I mean, that could have been a difficult one, just sort of like dipping low. Anyway, breakpoint number 3. She's definitely pushing Sabalenka here. Liked how she handled that first squash shot from Aryna as well. Wasn't like the most precise approach, but she kind of had to sacrifice some of that to handle the spin. Still was a good idea. And let's see. This time the return is in play, and Sabalenka just loses her timing on the backhand on the first shot. It wasn't a particularly strong or deep return from Rybakina, but it gets the job done. So she leads 3-1. Fair enough. Do you know what was the last tournament Ryba has won? Didn't she win Strasbourg in May? I will check, but I think she won Strasbourg just before Roland Garros. Which indeed would be true. Yeah, she won Strasbourg. Before that, though, I think we might be coming back to like Stuttgart even last year, right? But yeah, I mean, she's not in any like title droughts. She won Strasbourg, so no. That was the moment when I think we thought that, you know, she's kind of back. And then obviously she loses to Iga at Roland Garros. Could have gone both ways. Wimbledon was a bit disappointing with a horror show against Towson in the third round. Yeah, I mean, still definitely not at her best, but this win would be a very nice signal. And also third semi-final in a row if she manages to do it. This is looking to be a great game for her as well. 40 love up. I'm going to read the rest of the comments maybe on the changeover. But yeah, 40 love up now. Will Sabalenka fight for it here? Oh, that barely goes in from Rybakina, but it's actually going to be quite uncomfortable for Aryna, which means that she will indeed lead 4-1. I see that Google has stopped updating the scores, which is somewhat unfortunate. I might have to just switch to something else then for our scoring on the screen, which I will probably do right now. I'll stop sharing for a moment. You'll just see the green screen, if you may. And I'll maybe just use the WTA website or something like that. I don't know. Looks like Google just won't work here, at least for the time being. Oh, okay. You're not even going to see the green screen. You're going to see me in... yeah, if I look completely like worn out, it's super hot. Like literally you can just sit here, you know, in your room and be just drenched in sweat. So Poland has that too, you see. I don't know if to be happy about it, but yeah, we do have it. We do have extreme heat sometimes. Anyway, well, if you marry a Polish woman, Ghosty, I could be your witness. I think it's called a witness at weddings too, right? I think God will also be your witness. Give evidence. I mean, it's easier to prove that you didn't. It's easier to prove you did something than that you didn't, right? So I think that, I mean, what exactly did they want as evidence, you know? Innocent until proven guilty. I mean, that's kind of how it has to work, right? Yeah, don't worry, guys. The score will be here in a moment. I'm presently struggling with flash score, but I will get it up soon. Just enlarging it now so that it's pretty easy to see. Okay, yeah, I think that will be good. There will be some Polish words on the screen, by the way, but hope you will not have to worry about that. Anyway, let me see where the share screen is better. Sorry, where the share screen button is again. In the meantime, it seems like Rybakina is really making a move here. Yeah, just very aggressive from the return. 7 winners each, but it feels like Rybakina hit like 5 of them on the last 10 points. Love 15. Anyway, I should be able to get the score now. Okay. Here it is. I'm gonna also do. Yeah, I know you probably heard some noise when I touched my cable, but anyway, yeah, we have the score right now. Is that also struggling though? Okay, now it's updated. I don't know. Anyway, it's messy, but it is what it is. Yeah, anyway. I think it's also pretty quick. The scoreboard, this scoreboard, quicker than Google. Anyway, where are we? 3015 Sabalenka on my screen. Yeah, Google was better because this one seems to be pretty quick. Anyway, never mind. Yeah, I mean, Rybakina easily could have won Canada. That's true. And overall, this North American hardcourt swing going very nicely for her so far. Great flat forehand crosscourt winner here as well to go to 30 all. Okay, so he just said, okay, what you get up to outside of work. I mean, I guess, yeah. Definitely a bit of an uncomfortable situation, I guess. That's a funky drop shot from Rybakina, but I think she's missed. Sorry, Sabalenka, but I think she's missed it. So we now have a chance for Rybakina to go up 5-1. I mean, I wonder how it's also going to be, you know, regarding the heat and the conditions. Like, usually you'd think probably that Sabalenka should be handling it better. Maybe she's, you know, yeah, she's faster. She's just more agile physically. Relentless, I suppose. But yeah, she's having a bit of a mare here. Well, this was a good return as well from Rybakina, but that's another backhand she like mishits completely. So it's 5-1 Elena now. Okay. I think actually the best drug dealers, I mean the ones that have a chance of not getting caught, they would be like that. Like that, you know, the actual smart drug dealers, they don't take their own stuff, right? Like it's a very common phrase in like movies about drugs that you cannot be doing your own, you know, whatever you sell. So actually, I think it would kind of work, you know, if you're so quiet, just living a solitary, quiet life, and then. But yeah, anyway, I don't think you do drugs. Well, to the comment here, no, that's Strasbourg this year. The hero producer came in and gave you a wrong answer. Yeah, I guess the best of men, sure. It's good that you were not in danger, Jake, thanks to your great size. And then, well, Rybakina is kind of flying here. Sabalenka not trying to do all that much this game, also, seemingly. I mean, hits a good return and just like runs up into the net. Um, well, kind of in half tank mode since going down 1-5. It's 3 set points Rybakina. I mean, what a weird set this has been as well, because the first 3 games, they were tough for Elena. She had to work to hold the first 2 times, and then suddenly she just wins the next 4 games. Definitely playing well, playing aggressively, not allowing Sabalenka to make her run too much. But also Aryna's mental engagement was questionable at times. We'll see if she's able to pick herself up for the second set, or if maybe she's just, I don't know, more bothered by the conditions than Elena is, which could very well be true, obviously. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I think we can say for now. There was a question from Nurlan, which I forgot to answer. Would I agree that the best part of your body is your mouth? I mean, depends if you mean any specific part of like a person or myself, because like I don't know what exactly is the best part of my body. I know what the worst part of a general human body is. Actually, I think it's teeth. So that is connected to the mouth. I think teeth, in terms of like evolution, they're just not too well designed. First of all, we still have eights, which, like, yeah, they are completely useless. Second of all, our teeth are just not ready to survive, I don't know, 60, 70 years, right? So basically, I don't think they caught up with the evolution of a human being. And we currently have a big issue with this. Just, how much treatment you need on your teeth really to avoid having it fall out and having it, I don't know, gets bad enough that you have to take the teeth out. Also, just the sheer like how much of a cash grab it is right now for the doctors. I mean, it's unreal. I think that teeth are the worst part of a human body. The best part of a human body, Norlan, I don't know. What's a fascinating design or something that is like very good? I mean, some would say opposable thumbs, right? They're kind of what allowed us to get ahead of the other species. So maybe that. But yeah, I probably wouldn't say mouth. No, wasn't really wasn't really one of the first things I thought about. To be fair, Nurlan. Shellacking so far, according to Ghosty. Yeah, that's actually fair that she played Canada and has been a bit more acclimated, sure. Also, I think with Rybakina, sorry, with Sabalenka, I'm not sure, like, did she play any day sessions earlier? I don't think I will actually be able to tell you, to be fair. I don't remember when she was playing her matches. But she could be struggling to adjust to that, maybe. She played Raducanu in the day session, didn't she? Let me see. So Sabalenka in the second round was against Vondrousova. It was at night. Third round against Raducanu, I think, was during the day and was super long too. Yeah, it was day session. And then fourth round was night. So she did play a day match and was a really long one. And she managed to survive, obviously, in like 3.5 hours. We have a toilet break, by the way, even though it was a short set. But, in these conditions, I guess, sure. Yeah, I probably am not gonna talk about that. It is a controversial topic, though. Not really in tennis yet. Darts, though, has been impacted recently. There's one of the best women players in the world is after a transition, and a legend of female darts has openly declined playing against her. Like literally, when she drew her in a tournament, she withdrew. So yeah, it is quite controversial over there. That's for sure. Personally, I mean, yeah, I think in tennis it's pretty obvious that it shouldn't be allowed. In darts, it's so tough to say because there's no real advantage to being a man at darts, right? I mean, maybe there are, but like it's tough to argue. There is some like scientific work done on that, but anyway, I mean, yeah, women can play with men, and it's not a problem at all. But I guess that particular person, if she was still a man, she wouldn't be like top 500 in the world, And in women's sports, she's top 10. She's playing big events, right? So I don't know. It's controversial for sure. I mean, I don't have anything against her. To be fair, I kind of wish her well. So. Yeah, I think slash is done now. That's true. Opposable thumbs, Nulan. Your fingers. Where does a dirty drug dealing security guard land on the hero scale for me? I mean, I am not too interested in. Sorry, I am quite interested in like the details of it. I don't know. It's just like kind of like Breaking Bad, because you have you're gonna be thinking like, how was he performing this operation and everything. Like, it interests me, but I don't think he's on high on the hero scale for me. No. In fact, he also got caught. So have I read White Teeth? No, I don't know what that is. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I didn't mean it like that. You don't have to mention the details anymore. Like, I think I know what I wanted to know. I'm just trying to say that the case is pretty interesting, but as a case of a hero, no. More like, I mean, it's interesting that somebody was trying to pull this off, but yeah, it's not really something I respect, obviously. I guess you gotta earn a living somehow, but there are better ways to earn a living, that's for sure. Anyway, Sabalenka got the first game in the second set. So the free fall has ended the streak of 5 consecutive games going for Rybakina. So perhaps we will now get to know a bit more about how this match is going to go. I mean, it does kind of depend on Aryna finding her, even her focus again, even her composure. This might be a little easier if she gets the opening break here. I mean, she is 30 love up. Rybakina just double faulted. I think she is also complaining about the the grip of the racket, maybe like the sweaty conditions. I'm not sure. But yeah, at love 30, she kind of desperately needs something here. Of course, she's won the first set, but you don't want to give Sabalenka any helping hand. I mean, you kind of just want to pile up the pressure, right, and keep going. But she does on the next point. A couple of lovely forehands cross court. That squash shot from Sabalenka, close to going over. I do have to say that Aryna's speed here looked pretty poor, though, which I do think is the conditions. Like, she is typically a quick player, I think. But here I think it's more, it's tough to do it in this weather, I suppose. Another monster forehand, this time inside out from Rybakina. She's playing really well today as well. I mean, just striking the ball with a lot of confidence. Getting out of all these low 30s. Will she get out of another one here? I mean, she's kind of done it already at 30 all, but let's see if she wins the game. But yeah, this would be a good statement if she was also able to get out of this. I don't think you want to give Sabalenka that early lead, regardless of how the first set ended or what took place. There will be a breakpoint after Sabalenka hits a deep return at Rybakina's feet. And it's Elena's turn to have a bit of a tough time handling it. Breakpoint for Sabalenka. But it's momentarily saved with an ace out wide. Sabalenka quite irritated by that, but the quality of the Rybakina serve, of course, is quite important here. Can't block this return into play either. So it's kind of like that game in the opening. In the opening game of the match. No, the second game of the match. Sorry. The opening game of the match. Yeah, when I think she was also low 30 down and she had a breakpoint to save and just kind of like served well 3 times from there. Well, not yet done here though. The serve kicked Sabalenka out of the court, but Rybakina wasn't able to control her next shot, the +1 into the other corner. So we still have action in this game. She's done a lot of good work in this one to try to keep herself in it. But there's still lots more to be done, especially after this forehand unforced error. This was more of a, not a sitter, obviously, but just a slow ball through the middle of the court. Basically not a shot that would be forcing the error in any way. So breakpoint number 2 in this game. It's going to be on a second serve as well, so this could be something for Sabalenka. Not going too much into the court this time, and she actually doesn't handle the kick. I have to say, great serve though. Usually when a player does that, right, they fall back on return or stay that far back after the second serve. Typically we say that, well, if you do that, you kind of force yourself to make the return, right? I mean, otherwise, why were you even there? But this was actually a pretty strong kick serve on the second delivery here. So I guess the fault of Sabalenka isn't quite as big as maybe some other players in this particular dilemma. Anyway, we are still at deuce, so the game is open to anybody. Before the match, by the way, there was that like win predictor or something like that, win probabilities on the screen, and was 58% Sabalenka, which seemed pretty accurate. Right now, of course, it would be heavily the other way around, I suppose, especially if Rybakina can keep holding here. And she actually gets a very lucky net cord to get the game point. But doesn't survive this backhand exchange with Sabalenka. Definitely, you could see that her feet just, in terms of that like small positioning battle, they were the ones lagging behind and kind of needing a little bit more time to settle into the shot than Aryna does. But there's an ace. There's more great serving. And I think that's another ace. Wow. So yeah, definitely a huge game from Rybakina's perspective. Okay, passing shot on the run from Aryna. That was pretty special for sure. The slice approach from Rybakina, I mean, perhaps not the best, but still the ball was pretty low. Yeah, I mean, great shot to find that angle, fully on the run. Probably the best one of the match. Let's see if it kind of wakes up the tiger, right? Super deep return at Sabalenka's feet. Not much she could have done there, which gives Rybakina the 15-30 chance. Yeah, I mean, if the previous game was a statement, breaking here obviously would be massive and just basically one leg into the semis. Maybe not yet, but not far from that either. I think that kid is probably a Sabalenka fan, given his reaction to this point, and that's gonna be 15-40. And it's a long rally. Rybakina goes back and down the line, and Sabalenka doesn't even attempt to cover it. Am I getting sort of like the same issue like I did on the previous matches I did a watch along for in Cincy? As in, like, one player is just handling the conditions much better, and you kind of know what's gonna happen. I don't know. I mean, let's give Sabalenka a fighting chance here, but this not even moving towards that backhand was pretty weird. Yeah, this is definitely not ideal for Sabalenka, and I do wonder, as I said in the first set, about her mental engagement here sometimes, which is probably coming from the conditions. Sorry, yeah, I just realized that I hadn't replied to an email from 2 or 3 days ago, and I thought I'll do that quickly, but hopefully I wasn't too quiet. But yeah, here we are, a set and a breakup, close to another meeting of Iga Świątek. Definitely the three regulars in the chat. I think, oh my, Jake, Nurlan, and Ghosty, are you very different people? I think it's tough to say because Ghosty and Nurlan, I don't even know how they look. I mean, I know it's not maybe the most important thing on the, about a person, the looks, character, how they behave maybe is more important. But like, it's so tough for me to compare you, Jake, to Nurlan and Ghosty because Nurlan and Ghosty are names in the chat are and you like I know where you live, I know what you do, I know we don't know each other like personally, we haven't met at a tournament, but I know a lot of different facts about you and Nurlan and Ghosty. I mean, yeah, I mean they might as well like not exist, they might as well be AI bots. I don't think they are, but I think it's very tough for me to say something real about them, simply because they very much choose what they share, right? They choose which part of life they share with us, whereas you, I mean, you simply have a social media footprint of enough size that I know I don't feel like that the same way, right? And yeah, for that reason I think it would be very tough to compare. Like I don't know much about who Nurlan and Ghosty are. I mean, Nurlan is definitely quite absurd with his comments and everything, which is fun. Ghosty maybe shares more regarding his also political convictions and everything, so I feel like I know more about the worldview of Ghosty, whereas for Nurlan I kind of just know that he's a bit crazy. Scoreboard refreshed. I guess it refreshed itself, but yeah, thanks. Well, Rybakina still playing very well. Sabalenka getting frustrated. Hits that ball out of the... I don't actually know if it fell out of the stadium and into the stands, but either way, that was a ball hit in frustration after this serve and +1 forehand from Rybakina. If she keeps up that sort of level of delivery, aggression, of course, it will be tough to break her. But let's see, it's still just 40-30, and she's actually going to have to win a bit of a longer rally, which I think Sabalenka overcooks her forehand on. Yes, indeed. So 6-1, 3-1. Really getting close here. Really getting close. Do I feel like Azarenka doesn't get the acknowledgement she deserves, the player she was around that 2012 period? I think she definitely doesn't get enough acknowledgement for this run. Like 2020 US Open. I'm sorry, Naomi, but it's such a shame she didn't win it. I think, she was in the position to do it. It would have been an absolutely legendary thing to do after 7.5 years, maybe the best she's ever played. Like literally her fitness was much better than ever. She was clearly like so intent on winning that one. The match against Serena in the semis when not many believed in her. Yeah, I think that she definitely doesn't get the acknowledgement. With 2012 and 2013, yeah, I think these runs, these results are pretty forgotten by now. But then again, I just think it's a sign of the times, right? Like, I don't know, if Caroline Wozniacki, nobody's talking about how she dominated. Maybe not dominated, but how she was finishing number one in 2009 or 2010, right? Like, yeah, it's just how it is, I think. I don't think people talk much about Azarenka's 2012-13 anymore. But that's probably because a lot of current tennis fans just didn't witness it. Personally, I don't remember watching the Australian Open when she won in 2012. I mean, I watched the men's final. I remember that. I don't think I remember watching that, but I definitely remember the Serena Cincinnati US Open clashes, and while she did lose most of them, they were quite special for sure. Also, the early 2016 peak, I remember very well. She was unplayable for a while and then got pregnant. Anyway, this looks like a quicker game for Sabalenka, 40 love. When she was down heavily in the opening set, she kind of checked out mentally. Now she seems to be in a better attitude, but this will be a double fault. Still at 40-15. She seems very irritated today. I mean, again, I don't really know if it's the conditions or not. She did play a very long day match and was fine against Raducanu, so maybe it's not just that. I don't know. Maybe she's also frustrated because Rybakina is, serving so well and not giving her a lot of looks. And if she is getting looks, then usually they're also like handled pretty comfortably by Elena. Anyway, ace for 6-1, 3-2. If I were to drop Prime Azarenka into this current era, which matchup would intrigue you the most out of the top players versus her? I think it's kind of the same answer for all of the players from that era. I think Świątek. Like Sabalenka, Rybakina, I think we're getting more or less like we've got the idea of a good Sabalenka Azarenka clash, right? They've had opportunities to do that. Świątek would be better. Although Świątek, we also had that US Open match, which Vika won. Iga played very well, though. I think that was right after a 60 unforced errors performance against Vickery, which she still won. And then that match to Vika, she lost to in 2 sets, I think, but it was brilliant. But then, I mean, their last match is obviously, this isn't the player that once had amazing achievements, finished was number one, won 2 slams. So maybe that one, yeah. But I think for most players from previous eras, I'd probably like to see the Świątek matchup the most. Sabalenka, Rybakina, they kind of play like this very standard version of women's tennis right now. And I feel like these individual matchups would be a little more interesting when you contrast them with Iga, who's playing with like spin that previously was not seen on this tour. In the same respect, maybe Goff would be a more interesting matchup against the top players as well than somebody like Elena or Aryna. I feel like I have a good idea of what would happen in a Sabalenka-Azarenka matchup, as I said. And Sabalenka-Świątek would be, Azarenka-Świątek, both versions prime would be more exciting, I think. On a hard court, though. On clay, I probably wouldn't give Vika too much of a chance. Aniket Sharma with the big prediction that Rybakina will lose the second set. It would be kind of brutal if she lost the match from this position, for sure. We talked about this earlier that, she's had quite a few losses like that this year, right? Where she's in the position to win. She can get a great, great, great win and, just doesn't get over the line. So I think it's definitely vital for her to win this in 2 and, to win this overall, I suppose. But so far there's not that much resistance from Sabalenka too. Yeah, I mean, no idea. The situation off court was definitely impacting her in some way, but I think we were struggling to basically like estimate how much, right? By standard, I just mean the modern women's tennis game. Would I say you overvalue Azarenka's place in tennis? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I know you are a fan of Azarenka. I just don't know how you would, I don't know, compare her to, let's say, Halep, Wozniacki, because to me these are same level, more or less. Halep probably had a longer, like more consistent record, but like Caroline Wozniacki, Victoria Azarenka, that's kind of similar level for me in terms of like where they are in their, of their legacies, resumes, and everything. I don't know who else won something. She's definitely got a better record than like Nali, or I don't know. I'm just looking at like 1 or 2 slam winners basically. Kerber, Azarenka, that's similar to me as well. I think that Kerber has some arguments for sure, like the third slam, or also Olympics, I suppose, but she lost. Yeah, I mean, Kerber, Azarenka, Wozniacki, that's kind of very similar resumes, records to me. And if you value her somewhere around that ballpark, then I think that's perfectly fair. If you'd say that she's like, I don't know, much better than Halep or has a much better legacy than Halep, for example, I think this case is arguable, but definitely not much better. Well, let's see what Aryna does here. That's a great return from Rybakina. But the point continues. Has she found the line? I think she has. Oh my god, what a brutal forehand crosscourt again. I mean, yeah, say what you will about the unfocused version of Sabalenka that we're getting today. Maybe she's struggling with the heat, but this is also a brilliant stuff. This is brilliant stuff from Rybakina too. And as I said, I mean, she's kind of due a big win. She's kind of due a big result. She might be getting it here. What's happening here? Is that okay? I don't know. Fair. I mean, I guess Rybakina just missed the return, but she seemed very confused by something for a second. I don't know by what. 30-all. Sabalenka goes for a big serve T, but I think that's a let. Bit of a missed chance for Rybakina with that forehand into the net. And that's another strong serve. So Sabalenka stays within touching distance. 6-1, 4-3. 2 holds away Rybakina, but with that insurance break, obviously it would have been a little easier. Would I put Mboko unequivocally again amongst top 3 contenders for the US Open? No, I'd say top 20 maybe you could argue for. Top 15 maybe you could argue for. Some might put her like, I don't know, 10 or 9 in the power rankings, but that's maybe a little bit of a stretch with her lack of experience. But yeah, level-wise on hardcourts, I think she is like a top 20 player, definitely. But yeah, I mean, definitely not among top 3 contenders for the US Open. Not for a lack of talent or for a lack of level, but it is a little early. And yeah, I mean, players like Sabalenka, Rybakina, Świątek, they're far ahead in these rankings right now. These are probably the best 3 right now, I would say. Maybe Coco as well, if we factor in some US Open magic, maybe we'll get this. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, definitely the Mboko loss was something that shouldn't have happened to her there. She was in the position to win that match. She blew it. but just, starting the swing early, getting more reps in, gaining confidence match by match. I like it. Yeah, Kvitova, I mean, Kvitova was never number one. That's the main problem. She has 2 slams, though. She had some ridiculous peak performances. Like, the reason why I didn't mention her is because she was never number one. So that's probably a big argument towards Azarenka having a better resume. Like, for me personally, they're kind of similar level players, but, number one would have been nice if Petra got there for at least a moment. But she was also a freak, of course. I mean, one of the best performances I've seen from anybody ever was when she beat Serena in Madrid. What? Oh, I have a year left to live, and some magnanimous tech oligarch is wanting me to take me on a world tour of tennis challengers. I think it's pretty easy for me that I would go to events that I never was able to because of finances. So, like, I don't travel outside of Europe. So I would definitely want to go to Newport, grass challenger in the States. That would be great. I'd go to some South American event on clay, which I don't think is. I mean, I don't think it matters a great deal which one. They, at least from our perspective here, like, I don't really see the differences between these events for the most part. We usually get just one camera, so yeah. I mean, I can't tell you whether Buenos Aires would be better or Lima or whatever, but yeah, some South American clay event. And then probably I would go for something in Asia, but I wonder. Oh, Kobe. Yeah, I would go to Kobe. That's the beautiful indoor venue which was built as a shelter from earthquakes or something like that, I think. It's actually in Miki, I think, the venue. Bourbon Beans Dome, it's called, and it's built like that. Yeah, like a bean, sort of, with beautiful windows and everything. It's really quite stunning. So yeah, Kobe in Japan, Newport in the States, and then something in South America on clay. Probably one of the stronger events they have there. So maybe something at the beginning of the season, like, I don't know, Florianopolis, Punta del Este. Yeah, Punta del Este would be nice, I think. Just, I think in terms of, where location being fun. Or maybe something at like really high altitude. I've never really. Oh, I guess I've been at high altitude, like 2,500. That's the highest peak in Poland, 2,499. But watching tennis at that geography, that would be also quite interesting. Anyway, 40-30 for Rybakina here. She probably should have won the point, but the ball dips pretty low from Sabalenka on that get, and Elena doesn't quite raise it above the net. I didn't want to rhyme there, but I knew I was heading there at some point with the get net. Anyway, for deuce here, so has to be careful. And that's a lousy forehand error. So the prediction from sorry, I have to remind myself of the name. Aniket, yeah, sorry. The prediction from Aniket is suddenly looking a bit more likely than earlier after that forehand cross. And now let's see. She saved so many breakpoints today, and in fact, she saves another one with an ace. You know what I will do in the meantime? Also, I'll check how many breakpoints she saved, because I think we're reaching some crazy levels right now. This will also be in Polish right now, so sorry, but I will tell you which number it is if it loads for me. Which on the screen where I'm sharing, it's it's like the internet is pretty slow. Anyway, 4 out of 4 right now, but we already see a bit of a spoiler here, at least in regards to my screen, as there will be breakpoint number 5. I feel like of these 4 breakpoints, really few rallies, if any. Let's see what happens on the 5th one. Obviously, just hit an ace out wide on that side. And do you know what she does? Yeah, she hits another ace. Out wide, same serve. Absolutely, exactly same serve. Whenever that happens, I kind of think of that Federer-Nadal 2017 Australian Open game. I don't remember which set was that. I don't remember which set it was, but basically it was Federer just hitting free. I think it was first game of the third set, and Nadal had 3 breakpoints in that game, and Federer just hit the same serve every single time for an ace, of course. Anyway, Rybakina gets the game point finally. 6-1, 4-3. Will she make it 5? Block return from Aryna. It's in play. And she gets the opportunity to smack an inside-out forehand, but she's going to miss it, actually. So 6-1, 5-3. So angry at herself. But yeah, in this case, I mean, she kind of had the point 1 indeed. You've had the choice of sitting front row at the challenger with a full row of people around you or the seats back, but you were on your own. Oh, I definitely choose on my own. I choose on my own every time. Yeah, I mean, probably there could be factors that are more important, like if there's shadow only in that part where you have a crowd, then I would probably go for the crowd if it's super hot. But yeah, I mean, typically I choose to sit where nobody else is sitting. Yeah, definitely. Whether it's front row or somewhere higher up, I don't think it matters a great deal, unless we would be talking about extreme examples like, I don't know, Arthur Ashe, right? And you're choosing between front row and somewhere in the sky. Then yeah, in that case, sure. Aryna trying to get us to 4-5, and it looks like she probably will at 40 love. Both players just kind of want to be done with this game, I think. Sabalenka definitely, Rybakina kind of too. Well, after the change of ends, we're going to get that test. We're going to get that big moment of if Elena can serve out this win. She's 5 out of 5 on breakpoints saved today. Obviously hit a few aces to save them as well. So yeah, I mean, it's not like it's been super easy for her on serve, but she's still the favorite to take this here. What was the most impactful life advice you can share that you have heard or somebody has given you? No bloody idea. I mean, yeah, I would have to think about it seriously. Like, off the top of my head, I don't think I know. I'd say in the current system in Poland, it's not really something that anyone has ever said to me as advice, but it's something that I learned along the way and thankfully did it. Is that right now, like, higher education, it really doesn't mean much. And what was very important during my university course, I think, was to do something at the same time. Like, if your only focus was just the university course, I think you're wasting your time. And I'm glad that during that time I was basically already, trying to work in tennis. If I didn't do that, I'd be, yeah, I mean, I don't know what I would be doing right now, but my life would be very different and not as satisfying as it presently is, although it can also still get better. And I was just seeing that by everyone else, really, that like the people who were so focused on the classes and it was their only thing in life, I don't think they actually end up in a better position than me or a few of my friends who were, basically already working at the same time and, getting experience. How did you know kalendarz already? If I were the challenger in person and could only pick 2 people out of Ghost Team, me, you or Nurlan, to attend it with me. Oh, that is very interesting. I mean, there's a final game of the match and there's a quirky question. What do I talk about? I mean, I'll try to do both. That's a deep, long return from Sabalenka. Of course, if the match finishes and I kind of, talk about it for a minute or two, talk about the semi for a minute or two, I'll get back to some of these questions that I didn't answer. I think, Jake, just for the sake of getting to know who they are, maybe Nurlan and Ghosty, or maybe I would say, I don't know. With Ghosty, it could be like sometimes, it gets a bit heated as well. So maybe if I wanted to be like really chill, then I would probably take you and Nurlan. Depends on the attitude. But yeah, I mean, presently, I'd probably say Ghosty and Nurlan just because I don't know them at all. So, I mean, that would be interesting. And yeah, as I said earlier, even though we never met, I feel like we pretty much did with how we are both pretty like, we're not anonymous on social media. Anyway, 30 love. So this hold is getting close. This title, not yet, but yeah, this win, this massive result for Rybakina, considering what's been happening to her this season and last year even, and how she hasn't really been at her best. She wins this backhand cross-court exchange as well, going really low on her knees, and has 3 match points. Well, this is the moment. 3 match points. She served so well this entire affair. Can she lock it up with another ace? Let's see. Not an ace from the first serve at the very least. What will she go for in the second delivery? Kicker, return in play. And I think Sabalenka slices the ball out. Yes, indeed. 6-1, 6-4. And Elena Rybakina is into her 3rd consecutive semifinal. I mean, I've said some of this already, but she started the North American swing pretty early and is just getting confidence match by match, better level, better focus on the court. Definitely, maybe some of the issues as well that she was struggling with this year have been, slightly less impactful by now, or she's just gotten more used to it. Some of the sort of like mental issues that we've seen against Mboko and not being able to close this one out. Well, here it was better, right? 5 out of 5 breakpoints, most of them saved with big serves. Sabalenka was definitely quite off, just unfocused, really. I don't know if the conditions, maybe she didn't handle particularly well today, but she was so angry as well and just getting frustrated constantly. But at the same time, Rybakina, the aces, the serving was special. There were a few cross-court bullets as well of the forehand side. So overall, I think a very good performance nonetheless. And a big result she was kind of like looking for, right? A big result that she hadn't had for a while. And that I think she still absolutely has the game to be getting these sort of achievements, right? It's not like that game has disappeared. She's just presently having a slightly weaker time. Anyway, with Rybakina, of course, going through, next up, she will play Iga Świątek. Iga Świątek in the semifinals, that's going to be quite a battle. Of course, they've played 3 times this year, and Iga won all of these matches. But there was a moment when Elena held a pretty good lead in the head-to-head as well on Iga. So it's not always been an easy matchup for Iga, definitely not. And in fact, even this year, I don't think it's been a particularly easy matchup. Like, she played the United Cup match and the Doha match very smart. But then Roland Garros, of course, she was deep in trouble. And she somehow survived that, which I think was also a very good stepping stone on that way to her eventually recovering the confidence and the kind of ability not to panic in pressure moments. That also was later, of course, tested by Sabalenka in the semis, and then eventually kind of led her to the Wimbledon title. So super fun match in the semis. That's one semi setup. Next up today, we'll have, of course, Gracheva, Kudermetova, and Gauff Paulini. From me, that will be today. That will be everything today. But I will also read the rest of the chat just to make sure that I attended everything. There's some conversation between Ghosty and the producer, which I don't think I have to get to. I have no idea who Mick Hucknall is. Mick Jagger, though, I know. Yeah, not surprised that Ghosty wants to watch tennis or do anything with Martina Trevisan. Saba was out of shape because she skipped Canada. Yeah, I mean, the acclimation argument is okay, but this was also the fourth match, and she played for like 3.5 hours with Rybakina. With Raducanu. But yeah, I mean, I do think there is an argument somewhere there that Rybakina just like prepared herself very, very well for these tournaments and hopefully for the US Open as well. Between Saba's last match in Wembley and first match in Cincinnati, almost exactly 1 month. Okay, I know Simply Red. I just didn't know the name of the vocalist. I mean, it's not really a particularly good band. I'm worse than the drug dealing security guard. Fantastic. I think that means that Ashley just like renewed her membership or something. I don't know, but thank you anyway. And congrats to Elena indeed. This was a result she very much needed. And right now, well, Iga Świątek, it's a matchup that she struggled with this year. But then again, conditions are good for her. Should be a pretty even battle. I'd say Iga is the favorite right now, but it's not as clear to me as, I don't know, when they played in Doha and I was just watching that and thinking, okay, so Iga knows how to play against her now. Then I was convinced that she was going to beat her at Roland Garros, which she did eventually, but it wasn't the way I thought it was going to happen. And right now, I just don't have any predictions for that, to be honest. Yeah, wow, I'm surprised you remember that, Ghosty. I once did say that Dire Straits are overrated. Simply Red, I don't think they're rated at all. I mean, Dire Straits, yeah, they're overrated, but Simply Red, nobody thinks about Simply Red like seriously. I mean, yeah, it's just not really a legend band or anything. I don't think so. Dire Straits, though, I do think it's the hype is a little too much. Brothers in Arms is not one of the best songs ever. Neither is Stairway to Heaven. Let's be honest. I think I like Private Investigations the most, or Telegraph Road, is it called? Yeah, I think Telegraph Road maybe is the other song. Anyway, yeah, one more question, Jake. Fire away, because I'm going to cut the stream myself, Ghosty. I'm going to cut off my own mic. Anyway, yeah, fire away, Jake. Oh, what am I having for tea tonight? Is that something slang that I don't understand? I don't know. If you're asking about actual tea, I don't really drink it. Although recently at the Challenger in Kozerki, I was drinking a lot of tea because it was free, and I just figured, why not? I'll try. And I did some Rooibos forest fruits. I think forest fruits was my favorite. There was peppermint too, but that was a bit weird. Like, I like mint, but I don't know, in tea was I just didn't really like the taste as much. Oh, for an evening meal. Okay. Then in terms of an evening meal, actually, I don't know if I'm going to eat more because today I woke up in Warsaw and I went to McDonald's and it was a pretty big meal, which I ate for my hangover. And then when I came back, I just ate some like protein yogurt and what did I eat? Oh, 4 eggs. So I think I'm like pretty much at a bit of a calorie surplus today, which I'm probably going to be fine right now. So maybe I'll eat a mango. I think I have a mango in my fridge. So I might eat that mango, and that's probably going to be it for today. Yeah, I mean, I don't really eat at McDonald's often, but when I'm sort of like, traveling somewhere, it's a decent option for sure. So yeah. Oh, there's a stream later, apparently. I didn't even know that. So yeah, definitely, guys, check that out. From me today, this is gonna be it. Yeah, drinking tea, eating convos, a lot of different topics covered on the stream today. But obviously, the main thing was Aryna Sabalenka and then Rybakina. Once more, great win for Elena. Let's see how she handles Świątek, but this is still a really, really good warm-up swing for the US Open for her, and she will be one of the main contenders. I didn't know there was a meeting between Putin and Trump, and I will not be watching it. I'm not into that, to be honest with you. Politics, I like politics, but more at the local level, like Polish, yeah. Especially around every election, I do kind of get really interested. I'd watch anything. I'd watch any content. This year in Poland, before the presidential elections, we had like 5 different debates, and they were pretty much the same. But I'm sick in the head, so like I watched all of them from start to finish, like 3 or 4 hours. Okay, just hit it. But yeah, Putin, Trump, less interested. Of course, I do support Ukraine in the war, just to be clear. But yeah, that's all I can say, really. All right. Thank you to everybody, and I'm going to see you out with that John Silk clip.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.